Welcome to the Redvee TV preview show, supported by A-Star Recruitment for the 2020 season. As we look ahead again to St Helens vs Wakefield, it is the second part of the double header. We cannot wait. We're so excited, Kevin, aren't we?
I've even changed my top so it doesn't look the same as last week, so people can see how enthusiastic we are about this upcoming game.
There you go. That is number one on your spot the difference worksheet. I feel that our lethargic, poor performance in our preview show last week rubbed off and was reflected in the team. So if we act far more enthusiastic this week, we will hammer them, and Saints will extend the lead at the top of the table, and Dave will not wear a Wigan shirt.
Yes, that's it. We're just looking for a bit more enthusiasm from the players, aren't we, this week? I thought it was we started off horrendously, didn't we? I think it was we didn't complete a set for God knows how long. First bit of goal forward was after half an hour. It was just all a bit horrible to watch. So hopefully, I mean, Wakefield will take some heart from that and think they can get at us again. I just want to see a little bit more pressure on Ryan Hampshire if he's playing in the halves from his kicking game, and a little bit more taking it to the forwards early doors.
Yeah, I think Christian Wolf alluded to that in a couple of his interviews this week on the Saints website. He basically said the attitude wasn't right and we switched off, and he is expecting that to be changed this week. So you imagine they've had a rocket up themselves, and I suspect there may be one or two changes this week. Obviously, the only change to the squad, which we'll get onto in a minute, is James Graham's enforced absence once again due to the track and trace protocols, with Jake Wingfield coming into the squad. But this may be the week where you see Lewis Dodd on the bench potentially, or he may even start, put Theo on the bench to back up James Roby, or Aaron Smith, who seems to have been really unlucky to have missed out the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, listen, no team can expect to go through the season playing champagne rugby every single game. You are going to have off days, and they say the sign of champions is winning when you're not playing well and just grinding out a result, and that's what we've done. Yeah, we all want to see it so it's easier on the eye. It's not going to happen every week though, so it's a case of tempering your thoughts towards that. You're right with regards to rotation. I think I said last week that it kind of lends itself this week to kind of throwing a couple of lads in and giving them a go. I think Aaron Smith has been quite unlucky to be not the backup nine for the past couple of weeks. It's been good seeing Lewis Dodd get his goal, but the Wellesby one confuses me, because if he's there as a backup nine, at least put him on for 10 minutes to give Rose a little bit of a break. I mean, Rose was tremendous, wasn't he? On Friday, rightly picking up Man of Steel points. But yeah, there's some decisions to be made. I'd love to see Dodd start this week, and I'd love to see a little bit of a more balanced bench as well. I think we were a bit light on the bench, and even though Louis did well starting, I think I'd like to see him come off the bench if we're going to start with Walmsley and Lees.
Potentially Wingfield on the bench, maybe. It seems an odd one just to put him in the squad, unless you're just there to give him the experience.
Yeah, I think Wolf said that it's there to give him the experience, and he'll get a run out in a couple of weeks. Wolf's been quite complimentary with a couple of the lads who haven't made it into the 21 yet. Josh Eves got big raps and said that he could have a run out in a couple of weeks as well. He's kind of taken a leadership role with the lads who haven't been playing, which is great. Yeah, I don't know if this is the time to because we're going to be chopping and changing in the forwards. Is it time to get some minutes in the legs of the likes of a Joe Batchelor, even, who's not had that many run-outs? Listen, we're going to rely on people when the likes of your James Bentleys and Zev Tyers are going, game after game after game. We're going to have to rotate it and not give them as many minutes. So seeing the likes of Joe Batchelor play, Dom Peru get more minutes, Lewis Dodd get more minutes, I think it kind of lends itself, this game, to that potentially happening. I'm saying all this, it'll be tried and tested as soon as kickoff comes.
Yeah.
And it'll be Lomax and Fadge in the halves and Louis at 13.
It's interesting to obviously hear you say about the sign of champions is winning last week, despite us being so undercooked and poor. And yeah, I was reading that myself. There was a Talking Saints column in the Liverpool Echo that gets published every Wednesday. And the journal who wrote that said exactly the same. So obviously, great minds think alike, Kevin.
No. We don't get the Echo delivered around here, so...
Well, you should. There's excellent Saints coverage in there. Good match previews, an excellent Talking Saints column that is published every Wednesday for your perusal.
All right, okay. Fair enough.
Talks more sense than this guy on here.
All right. Yeah, fair enough. It's not hard.
Words are better than... the printed word is better than...
the spoken. As you mangle that sentence, yeah, fair enough.
Okay, right. Let's have a look. Before we get onto the squads, if I can get it up. I will show you the fixture list that is coming up. Do you know what? This technology is not working very well lately. We will see if it works, but I'm struggling.
Well, that's it. We've got Leeds next week. Is it Leeds, then Salford, then Wigan coming up over the space of Friday, Monday, Friday? Is that right?
Yep.
So that Salford game, listen, Leeds going well. Obviously, they've got the Challenge Cup to kind of look out for imminently for them. Wigan, you want to beat Wigan. Listen, if it's a raffle, I want to beat Wigan in that. So the Salford game, you can't take Salford too lightly. They keep turning up. They keep getting results. They keep pushing teams right to the end. But the Salford game could be one where we see quite a few changes in. And say Wellesby gets a run out at a fullback instead of Coote, and we save him for the derby. You might get your Joe Batchelor, your Jay Wingfield taking up places on the bench. Aaron Smith getting a good run out as well at hooker, because it's, as we've said, we keep saying that the fixtures are going to come thick and fast, and we're going to have to look after some of our elder statesmen. I mean, I'm saying that as someone who's older than everybody in the squad, but the likes of your James Roby, your Kyler Moore, your Louis, your James Graham when he comes back in, Zeb Tyre, you've got to make sure that you're managing the game time properly. So the young lads are going to have to step up, and we might even see players play kind of a little bit out of position in the forwards, just to kind of rotate. Because you can imagine, say, Aaron Smith playing at 9 and Roby at 13 if needed be. I think that the thinking is Wingfield comes in and he can play second row and 13. We might not see that exact one, but I can see us just having a little bit of a chop and change and seeing some faces. Jack Ashworth, he's not been near a squad for a couple of rounds now. Will he get another go in? Joe Paulo, who we've spoken about as well. There's quite a few players who once the games do start coming thick and fast, are going to have to put their hands up and put in a stint.
Yeah, Kev, you are old enough to be Jake Wingfield's dad.
Yes, I believe so, yeah.
Unfortunately, I suspect that I may well be as well, which is quite yeah.
Well, I'm probably old enough to be Sim's dad as well, aren't I? So no, I'm not old enough to be your dad. Bloody hell.
No, the technology's failing us. Yeah, so then fixtures, Kev, as you say, as of next week, Leeds on the Friday, Salford on the Monday, and then Wigan on the Friday. So you'd imagine if we can win this week and potentially beat Leeds, who may be suffering a Wembley hangover, That Salford game is basically a free hit, and that is the game where you probably rest everyone because you don't want them doubling up.
It possibly is. I mean, you don't want to kind of count your chickens because, listen, Leeds have obviously proved they can play what I'm going to call cup rugby by getting through a semi and into the final, and they might be buoyant after it as well. So it will be a tougher game than I think when the restarts. When we came back from the restart and we absolutely annihilated them. It'll be a completely different game to that, I think. But yeah, I think if you've got one eye on it, you'd probably be writing a Salford game off and bringing the changes for that and keeping your stronger players for playing Leeds and Wigan.
Yeah.
And that's not taking Salford for granted.
No, I think it's just a case of managing the fixture list and picking your battles. Listen, if we go into that Salford game and we drop the 2 points, then Salford, drop the percentage. So I'm sure Salford won't be complaining. But then if Salford are doubling up as well, it might end up being basically a reserve game between the two sides. Obviously, player welfare is going to come in. But we've got plenty of good youngsters who would make a good account of themselves anyway.
Yeah, and that's it. We saw Leeds have named a really, really young team going into the Challenge Cup final, didn't they? It may be that's what we've got to do, and we've got some of the late 30 squad numbers if we can name a couple more youngsters in there. Listen, if that's what needs be, and you get the young lads in and the young lads some experience, great. It can only be good for Saints, seeing how they sink, or some of them, unfortunately sink, but swim in Super League and see how they get on. So yeah, listen, I'm looking forward to seeing a couple more of the young lads named. I'm quite excited that Wingfield's going to get his chance. As I say, I doubt it'll be this week, but in the coming weeks. And he should be targeting the Leeds and Salford games for, listen, I could get a run out here. I could get a good 30, 40 minutes of Super League rugby under my belt. Kind of get them jitters, them nerves away like Lewis Dodd did. And he'll be even better for it when he plays his second and third Super League games.
We've got 10, we've managed to get at least 10 minutes out of this one, Kevin. Considering there wasn't much to talk about except squad news. Obviously, Wakefield got a few back after track and trace. And players missed out last week in COVID, etc. Comfortable victory though is what we're expecting. Hopefully,
hopefully more comfortable than last week's. I still think still think Wakefield will give us a game and make us honest. I can still see kind of them. They've got nothing to lose, have they? They can't go down. So they can turn up against the champions and throw the ball about and kind of try and pin us back and just play good rugby. So yeah, listen, we do tips every week, and I've gone Saints by 14. I still don't think that it's going to be an absolute blowaway because I don't think we're quite clicking at the minute. But 14, I'm hoping that's a comfortable 14.
Yeah, well, we won by 4 last week, and I did Saints by 62.
Did you? That's one of the worst tips I've ever heard.
Do you know what? I'm going to have to start reading that Liverpool Echo column and listening to that writing in there. Who knows? So,
yeah.
Right. I'm going to go this week, Saints by 40. I was going to say 47. Why are we kicking a drop goal? 48. Saints by 48. That's his second worst.
I'm sticking with 14. Yeah, I'm still sticking with 14. I still think it'll be tight.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we will catch you for an instant fan reaction tomorrow evening. Catch you soon.